Another 2018 research paper published by James Madison University evaluated the math behind each strategy and concluded, overall, this analysis provides compelling evidence in favor of the debt snowball as a viable method for debt relief. There's truly only one way to get out of debt, and that is to pay it off until you have a $0 balance left. The creditor that you have the loan or the debt through wants to keep you in debt for as long as possible, for as much as possible. Because the more debt you have and the longer you have it, the more money they're gonna make off of you in interest. That's the only way they make money off of the loan, is through the interest. So you need to have the opposite mindset of, I need to have the least amount and get out of it the soonest so that I'm penalized the least when it comes to interest. There's no secret tricks to getting out of debt, but this video I'll give you 2 strategies that you can use to get out of debt, and at the end, 5 quick tips on how to get out of debt. The first strategy is going to be the debt avalanche. The debt avalanche says line up all your debts from highest interest rate to lowest interest rate and start by paying off the highest interest rate debt first. So while we're making minimum payments on all our debts, we put any extra money towards the higher interest rate debt until that's paid off. Then we continued making minimum payments and we moved the extra money to the next highest interest rate payment until that debt is paid off. So for example, if you have a $5,000 credit card debt at 17%, this is your highest interest rate, this is what you're gonna start paying on first. Then, for example, you have a $30,000 student loan at a 4% interest rate, this is your second highest, you list that afterwards. And then your last debt, you have a $10,000 car loan at 1%, that would be the last debt that you would cover. The reason and the goal behind the debt avalanche is to start tackling the highest interest rate first, because that is the loan the bank is making the most amount of money off of you. Mathematically, out of the 2 strategies we covered in this video, this strategy makes the most sense. It's a numbers game, and we're trying to bend the numbers to work in our favor as much as possible. The second strategy is gonna be the debt snowball. The debt snowball says list all your debts from smallest to largest, and then start making minimum payments on every single debt. All extra money goes to the smallest debt first until that's completely wiped out. Then we go to the second smallest debt until that's completely wiped out, and it keeps snowballing. Keep in mind, these 2 strategies don't include your mortgage, it's only consumer debt. So when we're using the debt snowball, if you had the $5,000 credit card debt, we're gonna list that first because that's your smallest loan. Then we're gonna list the $10,000 card payment next at 1% because that's your second largest. The last debt we're gonna tackle is gonna be the $30,000 student loan. So we're not focused on the interest rates at all, we're just focused on the actual amount that you owe. The goal of the debt snowball, which has been championed by Dave Ramsey over the years, is to build momentum. It says, unlike the debt avalanche, it's less about the numbers and the mathematics, and it's more about your behavior. Debt can be extremely overwhelming, especially when you owe $30,000 in student loans, you're paying $150 a month, and you're barely seeing the needle move just because the interest continues to stack up. And you're looking at the next 30 years of paying this and wondering, how are you ever gonna get out of debt, to the point where you just accept that debt is normal and I'm gonna be in this probably forever. The debt snowball gives you the small wins. You pay off the quick $5,000 with a lot of momentum. You roll that momentum into the $10,000, and those small wins give you a boost of confidence. So which strategy are you gonna choose, the debt avalanche or the debt snowball? A 2012 study by 2 associate marketing professors in Northwestern University's Kellogg School of Management, they studied the records of thousands of people who participated in credit card debt settlement programs. The study compared people who used the debt snowball approach, recommended by Ramsey and others, as those who took the rational approach of first paying off the cards with the highest interest rates. That'd be the avalanche. Their results were consumers who utilized the less rational snowball method were more likely to actually eliminate credit card debt. Another 2018 research paper published by James Madison University evaluated the math behind each strategy and concluded, overall, this analysis provides compelling evidence in favor of the debt snowball as a viable method for debt relief. When applied to a very large, very meticulous sample of real-world data, the snowball's empirical performance was equal or very close to the debt avalanche in a large majority of cases. Further, the psychological benefits of the debt snowball recommend it strongly to debt-ridden consumers, as the avalanche method can be daunting to households facing a very large debt to pay up front before moving on to the next source. So that 2018 study is basically saying the amount of interest you're going to save by doing the debt avalanche was so minuscule or almost equal to the snowball And then with the snowball, you also get the psychological benefits, therefore making the snowball method better. In my personal experience, my opinion on this is when I see people struggling financially, it is almost always, if not always, behavioral or discipline issues within their finances and has very little to nothing to do with how much they actually make. So I have to suggest the debt snowball because I do agree that it is less about the numbers and more about building momentum and changing your behavior. And I do see people when they get on the debt snowball and they get those small wins, they start paying off that debt so fast that the interest rates between 7%, 5%, or your 3% loans don't even matter because of how quickly they're getting out of debt. Last part of this video is 5 quick tips for helping you get out of debt. Number 1 is you need a budget. You need a budget when you're getting out of debt because I guarantee you there are hundreds of dollars every single month that are slipping through the cracks that you don't realize you're spending on things where we could better use those hundreds of dollars and apply that towards your debt to help you get out. Number 2 is any bonuses, raises, tax returns, extra money, throw that onto the debt. I encourage this strategy too when it comes to investing to avoid lifestyle creep. If you're only contributing 5% to your 401k or 10% to your 401k, as you get raises and bonuses, pulling that money in and taking it home with you and creeping up your lifestyle or inflating your lifestyle, take the extra money and bump up your investing to 15%. And you won't notice a difference because you're still taking home the same amount of money. All extra money is bringing you up to speed of where you should be investing. You can do the same thing when it comes to debt. Number 3 is you can actually make settlements with creditors. So if you owe $10,000 in credit card debt, if you call them up and make a $3,000 all cash offer, they may take that. Just make sure you get it in writing before you pay them the $3,000, saying that that will settle the loan completely. The only caveat to this is you need to have that actual liquidity, the $3,000 in your bank account to pay them. Number 4 is you really need to get inspired when you're getting out of debt. There's plenty of books that you can read. I'll link some in the description down below. There's podcasts that you can listen to. Stay motivated, have an accountability partner, talk about it with people, talk about your journey with people so that they will encourage you to keep going because you will burn out. And lastly, stay focused when you're getting out of debt and remember why you want to be financially free, whether it's to pay for your kids' college, to retire early, to go on more vacations, to buy a new house, whatever the case may be. Continually remind yourself that this step of getting out of debt is launching you towards those goals. Thanks for watching, guys. If you got any value out of this video, please hit the like button. And if you want to see more videos like this, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. It's all about personal finance. And if you need any one-on-one coaching when it comes to personal finance, you can check out timwolf.com and schedule that today.